You were reading a piece with Rory O'Connor in The Independent as well about the profile of the team and how it differs from, it's not a good reflection of Irish society in a way that the soccer team is.
It's not a full reflection of Irish society, that's for sure. It never really has been, though, has it? And it certainly changed over the last little while, where the private schools are more influential and are creating this unbelievable conveyor belt of talents in Leinster, which, you know, is fantastic for Leinster, is obviously good for Ireland as well. He's just kind of gone through some of the figures there. If you look at the team against Japan, 11 players who went to private schools in Dublin, Wicklow and Kildare were on the starting team against Japan that day. It is undeniable, but it's a conversation we've had for quite some time. It's actually just kind of deeper into the piece that he just makes a very valid point that football has done a much better job of showcasing modern Irish society than rugby has. It's been, I would argue, one of the best angles of the Stephen Kenny era so far, as how it's coincided with a brilliant representation of the communities that exist in Ireland in modern society. That has not been replicated in the Irish rugby team. I would say, I mean, it's been great to, you know, have a South African or a New Zealand tint to the team, and that's been a great little kind of, I guess, subplot to where the Irish rugby team has gone over the last little while, regardless of your stance on it. But I still think there's a hell of a long way to go to actually get to a point where the football team is at the moment, where you're like, right, this is modern Ireland represented on the pitch. What we have is still elite Ireland on the pitch. There's no getting away from that. And even when it comes to your traditional Irish communities, I guess, and some of them are even dwindling when it comes to like the Munster-based players, obviously, and from elsewhere around the country. But this is not just a question of, you know, the private schools thing. It's a question of everything, really, and how well is rugby doing in terms of opening doors to everybody in this country, because it seems that it's something that we should all be going after, because everybody benefits if that's the outcome that, like the football team have. They have clearly opened doors to a lot of people around the country, regardless of their socio-economic background, for example.
Well, like when you say it's not a private school thing, it feels to me like that's a large part of it, in that that's the system that's providing a load of the players that are in this team and that will continue to come into the teams, and not just around Dublin, by the way, around Leinster. I think that a lot of the provinces have been dominated that way, and you look at the profile, the diversity of our private school system. If that's the route we're going to continue to have a lot of white Irish kids playing for Ireland. That is going to be a fact of life. So I mean, I guess the suggestion here is that, you know, the IRFU could do more to engage communities beyond that, because it isn't that long ago that, you know, that a lot of the teams were coming from the same geographical areas. Never mind about any diverse split beyond that. So yeah. I don't know, it feels like there's a long old route to go if there were to because also it's hailed as being so successful.
Well, yeah, and like that's actually a good point, and Rory makes that point that actually one of the best times to have a conversation about what any sport can be doing better is when a sport is in a good place, because otherwise maybe it comes across as moaning a little bit. But I suspect in a couple of years, without being too much of a downer, that we might be in a place where there might have been another bit of World Cup disappointment coming the way of Ireland, and conversations about how do we get more people playing rugby will come up. How do we get into different areas that haven't been touched by rugby at any point? That is the conversation we have every 4 years, and maybe it's actually a good one to be having right now, because Ireland have just beaten the All Blacks, rather than reacting to a defeat to the All Blacks or France or South Africa or Scotland or whoever it is in 2023.
Yeah. So, Elite Ireland, Jesus wept, OTB virtue signalling, says Martin Malone. Good morning to you, Martin.
What was that again?
I have no idea. Did one of us mention something to do with Elite Ireland?
Right.
I don't know. As always, take the weird path there, Martin, rather than actually engaging in the overall conversation.